We're about to save some lives.
You are back.
He's back from the US of A because he's just been out there on the United States of America. He was hired for an American television show where they flew him to America just to go on dates. So you got to see for real the man in action, and now he can give you advice to improve your dating life.
In helicopters, climbing mountains, I have been battling for my life, saving women, damsels in distress, from left to right, from coast to coast, from state to state. And here I am, back in the house to share my knowledge and George's wisdom.
Listen, guys,
all of you at home.
If your heart is broken, don't worry. He's going to show you how to break some hearts. Okay, female.
It's definitely a female.
Just so we know, this is a girl asking for advice. A girl asking two men for advice. 4 testicles right here on this sofa, and she wants to know our opinion.
At least 4.
At least 4, full of hair.
He's sexy, passionate, but also unreliable. Well, every time I get together with Richard, I feel butterflies in my stomach. On the other hand, I've recently been dating Charles.
Do I know Richard?
Sounds like you might.
I might do.
Charles is 34.
I wouldn't worry if it's the same Richard I know.
Charles is steady, he's kind, he's sweet. He's also a little bit boring compared to Richard. We know where this is going, don't we? Charles knows we're not exclusive.
Wait. For guys watching, pay attention. Charles is sweet and he's kind. And he's boring compared to Richard.
Steady.
What does that tell
Use
you?
the word steady, kind and sweet.
Steady, kind and sweet
And she
equals
described
boring.
the other guy as sexy, passionate and unreliable.
Yeah. So men watching, that's all you need to know about women. It was just succinctly put. Okay? Kind, sweet, reliable, boring, unreliable, sexy, fun. Okay,
Passionate.
which are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Right.
How to be sexy means be a little bit unreliable, be a little bit dangerous, be a little bit unexpected, be a bit aloof, and don't always be so kind. Be willing to say no once in a while. Be able to say, no, actually, I don't want to see you. No, I'm going to make other plans. I'm going to see someone else. I'm going to see my friends.
It's
I'm going to
simple.
watch a movie.
It's simple advice, but it's so true, gents. Men who are watching, really listen to what George is saying here,
Listen to
because
what she's saying.
listen to what she's saying, because I'll tell you what, it's an easy mistake to make when you're a nice guy and you're a good guy, you fall in love, you like a lady, and you want to do everything you can to make her happy, and she starts to write letters into me and George describing you as steady, kind,
And
sweet,
boring.
and a little bit boring.
And dull.
Yeah.
You're ditch water. Your kindness is nothing but misery to her. You are essentially just like... She thought you were like a beautiful ice statue. She wasn't sure if there was anything inside. And the kinder you were, you started to melt. Until all you are is a puddle. And she's like, boring. He's a puddle. Meanwhile, the guy who's a bit of a bastard, he's made of iron. And she's like, yeah, I like that. He's iron. It's hard. It's dangerous. Anyway, come on then. What's a question?
So basically, right, Charles knows. Charles is the steady,
Prince
kind, boring
Charles.
guy, yeah. He knows we're not exclusive, but he's received an offer to work in Italy, and he asked me to take this more seriously and move there with him for a year.
Oh, God.
I would love to take a year to explore Italy. Notice how she said, I wouldn't love to move to Italy to be with Charles. She would love to move to Italy to explore. Interesting. I have a remote job, so it wouldn't affect my career
A lot of Italian men in
negatively.
Italy.
I do love Charles. Oh, she loves Charles. But
Well, we don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
when she says I do love him, that doesn't mean she's in love with him.
no.
She might love him
Exactly.
like a new pair of shoes.
I mean, you can love
do
someone,
love my new
but it
pair
doesn't
of
mean you
shoes.
necessarily want to marry them and live them with for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I love my new pair of shoes. I love this new shirt that I've got. I do love the new TV that I've got.
But the other shirt's also quite nice.
It doesn't mean
fact.
she's in love.
Yeah. So, we have many things in common. The talk about Italy started because we both love to cook. And we'd love to learn Italian cooking techniques. But I don't get butterflies in my stomach when I'm with him. I was talking to my older sister about Charles and Richard, and she told me that butterflies in your stomach are not always as great as they sound. It
Well,
is,
you know, you swallow a bunch of butterflies and have them flapping around in your stomach. It's probably not that good. In fact,
No.
you probably want to call a doctor. And for all you know, how do you know that they're not moths? I mean, butterflies in the stomach, there's something very picturesque about it. It's almost like a poem is taking place within your, you know,
internal
regions.
organs.
But it might be moths. It might actually be moths.
And then they'll lay eggs and
Yeah,
they'll hatch them, and you don't want that. You're gonna have to get a.
Don't want us. You want to call the NHS.
Yeah, it's not
All
a
right.
good look. It's not
Find
a
out
good
what's
look.
actually going on inside that belly of yours.
So, it made me wonder if she's right, and if I might be throwing a good thing away if I don't go with Charles. On the other hand, every time I start thinking about moving, I start thinking about Richard again. Shouldn't you feel passionately in love with someone if you're thinking of moving halfway across the world with them? I know, I want to have my cake and eat it too, but I just can't decide what to do.
Why don't you just tell Charles about Richard, and then he'll go off without you anyway? Problem solved. Because he doesn't know you are technically cheating. You are a two-timer.
Well, they weren't exclusive, right?
Yeah, but I bet you he doesn't know. And we're not exclusive does't mean that she's been like, so anyway, I'm going to go off and see Richard now.
Can I be honest?
Way sexier than you.
I feel like for her, I actually wish Charles had actually sent a letter in and asking us for an advice, because I'd love to speak to Charles about
Charles
this.
thinks he's doing alright. Charles is like, I've got a good girl, she's faithful, she's monogamous, I've invited her to Italy, I think we're going to go, we love cooking together, she responds to my kindness and my generosity and my sweetness, and the good, kind man that is within me, she actually looks me in the eyes and she can see the depth and the
She's
trust
different
that I have
to the
for
other
her.
women. She's not like the other girls.
Meanwhile, she's off with Richard.
Yeah, and this is the problem. And what will probably happen is, if she does go to Italy with you, mate, I know you're not watching, she's watching, but she'll probably just leave you when someone else comes along who's got a bit more of a spark and a bit more excitement, and then you'll be left and you'll be sitting here going, I didn't see that coming.
Alright, I'll
What
give you some
happened?
advice.
Give
Here's
her
my
some advice.
Here's my advice for you. Well, she's the one written in
Exactly.
asking for it. What's her name, by the way?
Her name is Prudence.
Prudence.
I've decided.
Dear
I don't know her name.
Prudence.
I've called her Prudence. She's not very prudent though, really, is she? Let's be honest. I mean,
Prudish. Now, so, alright, listen, Prudence. Here's my advice. Okay, so, you've got a good guy in Charles. He's a nice chap. And I'm going to tell you one of the issues with Richard. It's very, very, very likely that nothing's going to happen with Richard. Richard is a player. He has fun. He's a little bit dangerous. He likes to walk on the wild side. He's the guy you met on the wrong side of the track.
he wears a leather
metaphorically
jacket.
speaking.
He's got a motorbike.
Yeah,
he's cool.
He's the film star guy. He's Marlon Brando, right? So the issue with Richard is you ain't gonna have a relationship with Richard. He's not gonna settle down. He's not gonna give you children. None of that's actually gonna come to fruition. So even though he's exciting and he's fun, there is nothing long term actually there, and it's gonna drive you up the wall because you're gonna push for it and you're gonna want it. But meanwhile, he's got this girl on the side, which is why you like him in the first place. So here's my advice to you. Okay, life is not that long, and our youth is not that long, meaning to have an opportunity to go off to Italy is actually once in a lifetime opportunity.
Right.
So what I would suggest is go with Charles to Italy, but don't go thinking this is it, I'm shackled to the guy, I'm with him for the rest of my life, oh no, I'm gonna have to get married. None of that's the case. But it will get you away from Richard just a little bit, because that ain't really going anywhere. That's just exciting for now. And when you get to Italy, you're going to get this exciting new life, amazing environment, great sun. They put ham on melon out there. It's delicious.
Have you had the focaccia in Italy, George?
No. Tell me about it.
Focaccia.
Tell her.
Kalamata olives. Oh my god.
You hear that? You've got
Absolutely
Kalamata
gorgeous.
olives to look forward to.
Gorgeous.
You're going to get there, you're going to dine in a bath of olives. You're going to get Charles to just make olive oil in a bathtub, and you and him are going to lick it off of each other's bodies. Ooh, I'm salivating just thinking about it. Perspiring at the fingertips. Anyway, so you're going to go out to Italy, you're going to have a great time in the sun, you're going to lick ham off of each other's rectums. And after about a month or so, when that starts to wear a little bit thin, which it might, but it might not, you might find that actually when you're out there, he's going to get a little bit of an ego, he's going to develop a bit of confidence, he's going to enjoy his new life, you might find him a bit more attractive. But if that doesn't happen, guess what? Italy is full of Richards, okay? And whilst you're out there, you might be like, actually, that bare-chested man who looks like a Rodin statue walking down the centre of Florence, okay, who's taken my breath away, I'm going to go over and speak to him. Meaning you get a whole new experience, and if you want to bring it to an end with Charles, you can.
Yeah.
Because you can go and meet a great Italian man, and he's going to smoke a cigarette in the setting sun, and he's going to tell you look beautiful, and he's going to mean it for about 2.5 hours, and you're going to have a great, wonderful, memorable night.
I will say this though, Prudence.
And at least you get a new life
You
story.
might get a new life and you might meet someone else, but you might also come to regret losing out on the kind, sweet, caring Charles, because sometimes in life, it's those men that you take for granted that happen to be the ones that are the most unique, most rare, and most special.
Absolutely. Well, look, all right. So what Luke is saying is 100% true. Now, I don't think you're mature enough. I think you're too much of a child in the inside to be ready to settle down with a Charles. I just don't think it's in you. But you're
not there yet.
What we're alluding to here is that the primal base center of a woman, okay, is actually that she wants a lover, which is Richard, the exciting one, but she also wants a provider, which is Charles. He's the stable, boring one. And what she really wants is both of those people in one man. But it's virtually impossible to ever find it, okay? It's the story of Beauty and the Beast, all right? When she meets the Beast, guess what? He's the lover. He's the dangerous, unstable one. And she wants to turn the Beast into the prince, who's the nice, kind, good one, i.e. lover and provider in one man, the Beast. But she normally can't ever find it. So what she wants instead is, she wants both. Now, after a while, a woman starts to find that whenever she goes out with the dangerous Beast, the Richard, it doesn't actually go anywhere, and it causes a lot of heartache, and it does her in, and it drains her energy, and it makes for an unstable life, and ultimately it's an extremely lousy situation to bring a child into your life with that kind of a person. It's not a good long-term squeeze, okay? Because what you want is a father. You want somebody who can be a man of the house, all right? Who'll look after you and look after your children. And it's probably not Richard, okay? But you might have to go through a few Richards before you actually say, hang on a sec, Charles is the prince, okay? In which case, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? You could put a ring on your finger, you could dance on a rainbow, you could get married in the setting sun of Italy, and it'd be wonderful. I don't think you're there yet, but I would say you will miss out terribly if you don't go to Italy, because all that's going to happen is he's going to sack you off to Italy, go there by himself, meet someone else, and you're going to be there clinging on to Richard, who's going to disappear, 29 hours out of the day, and you go, where is he? Who is he with? Who's he speaking to? And before you know it, within 2 months, he's off with 3-4 other women, and he's ditched you anyway. So
yeah, I would agree with you.
Italy.
But I would say this:
buy a plane ticket.
Go to Italy, but I would say this: be careful, because the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and your youth, like George said, won't last forever. And maybe you are seen as a bit of a prize now, but unfortunately, and it's just the reality, in a few years you may not be seen as the prize. So if you've got a good guy like like Charles, then you might want to keep a hold of him. But at the same time, if you're not ready for a Charles, go out there, sow your wild oats, enjoy yourself, have a great life. And you know what? Charles will find someone else anyway, and he'll maybe find a woman who's ready
else
for
in
him.
Italy. But right now, just be like, that is an option, because you might go there and be together, and then you might separate out there, and you might both find somebody else. But you get to do it in Italy, where the sun shines, and the river is luminous.
He wants you there.
It glitters in the daylight.
You're not getting married. You're just going out there. It's a year. Maybe you stay out there longer. Maybe you come back. Maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe it does. But give it the chance that it deserves. And, at the end of the day, what have you got to lose?
We've solved that problem.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's doing better. I want to go with Charles. I'm going to go with Charles.
So I know Charles. I've met Charles, and he's a solid guy. But I also understand, sometimes we've got, like you said, we're not emotionally mature enough. We've got to check out different relationships. So it is what it is. And we wish you the best.
Problem
solved.